Hello, thank you for taking a moment to watch this video, and hopefully you've been watching all of the other videos because we are picking up where we left off on this particular training. As we go through this Zapier training, we are taking all of our QA declines. Every time a contact is declined after an appointment was set by one of our team members, if it gets denied, we want to make sure that that record gets updated back in PhoneBurner. So we just quickly went through and generated a new sample that matched the denied or declined. And now we're going to go ahead and move on to the action step. We now know that we've got one that qualifies. We're going to move on to the action step and get it updated in PhoneBurner. So I'm going to go ahead and click on action, and we're going to look up our PhoneBurner app. And the action event is going to be update contact. I'm going to go ahead and continue. Choose our PhoneBurner account. And the first thing we need to do with this step is we need to grab the contact ID that we're going to be updating. And of course, we log that contact ID in our Google spreadsheet. So grabbing that PhoneBurner contact ID. Once again, that's from our column here that we log based off of the data that we received in previous Zaps. Now this one is not approved. We need to get this one back into the list, back to be called. So we're going to move it into a different folder. We're going to take it out of the appointments folder. Now when we're updating that record back in PhoneBurner, there's a lot of different variables that you're going to have to consider for you and your team. The way I'm doing it for this particular example in this training is I'm going to keep things fairly simple. I just want to take that record, that contact that was denied, that was not approved, and I want to get it back into just the general calling list for anybody on my team to follow up with. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move that record into the fresh leads folder, because that's where I put everything that needs to be called. So all of that data that's flowing in at the beginning of this, when leads are generated, they're going into my fresh leads. And if somebody is not approved, I'm going to put them back into that pool so that my team can call that contact again. Now I don't need to update the last name or first name or address. I don't need to update any of that information. There's only a couple other things I want to update. One of those being the notes. I want to take the notes from my QA team and I want to update the notes in PhoneBurner on that record so that when somebody's calling that record in the future, they know why they're calling them. They know that this contact had previously had an appointment and it was declined for whatever the reason is, and then they can fill in those details and set up a new appointment. And after notes, there's one other thing that I might want to consider, and that is transferring the record. Depending on how you configure your dispositions and how you're managing your data after an appointment is set, if you have your agents own the records that they set appointments with, you might want to transfer that record once it's declined or denied back to the admin when we get it back in the pool. In my particular case, I don't have to do that, but I do want to talk about this. So let's jump back over to PhoneBurner. Let's return back to the admin account. You'll see here, each user in PhoneBurner has what's called an account ID. And your admin account has an account ID. There's a few different ways you can look that up, but probably the fastest way for you to just deal with that always and not to have to worry about it is you can click on the help button here and just ask our support team, hey, what is my admin account ID, my internal account ID, so that you can get that number from the team. But I'll show you here real quickly. If I go to contacts and I click on this gear, I'm actually using what's called a lead stream to distribute the data to my organization. And so I'm going to edit this lead stream, and I'm going to go to the adding leads to your lead stream link, and you'll see this ID right here. This is my admin contact ID, and I could use that ID right here to ensure that any record that gets updated through this path will be transferred to me as the admin, no matter where it is. So anyway, just wanted to point that out, that might be something that you want to consider. And I'm going to go ahead and click continue. And we're going to test this. So let's go ahead and hit the test and review. Now that record, if we go to contacts, should have been in our appointments folder. Of course, it's not there now because it should have been moved back to fresh leads, which it is. And if we edit this record, we'll see our notes, reviewed the recording, blah, blah, blah. That's our QA team's review. Now, of course, these are just raw notes. We might want to add a little bit of information to those notes to make it very obvious to the team member who calls this contact again that these are notes from the QA team and not anyone else. So let's make a quick update to our Zap. Let's go back here, click on Setup Action. Let's go to our notes. And so rather than just dropping in the notes as they are, let's add some flavor to it. And so what I did is I added some stars there before and after, and then QA review notes. Let's go back into our record. Let's delete what's there. Go back. And let's also do this. Let's transfer this record. Let's set it up as if the disposition was not going to transfer the record back to the admin account, right? So let's go back here. Go to our team, log in, and we should see Gary sample there. So let's assume that was the process. We called, Heather calls Gary, dispositions Gary as an appointment, and now we have it set up to where we're going to add a little bit of flavor to our notes, and we are transferring the record back to the admin. Let's see what happens when we do that. Let's go ahead and continue and retest action. Okay, it's been done. Let's go back to contacts. Let's go back to PhoneBurner here. Click on our appointments tab in Heather's account. We should not see Gary anymore. Let's return back to the admin account. Go to contacts. Go to our fresh leads folder. And there he is in our fresh leads folder. And here's our notes with the asterisks, the little stars there, QA review notes, and then the custom notes from our quality assurance team. And that's it for this particular training. Now you know how you can get updates from your external CRM, send them down different paths so that you can update records in PhoneBurner differently based off of differences within those changes. So anyway, I hope that helps you and your team get more done in less time using the power of PhoneBurner. Thanks again and happy dialing.